This episode of Miles to Mogul, I'm super excited to have an Austin since I was like in high school, maybe even middle school. It'd be like, Nick this and Nick that. He's doing this. He got this going on. So your name has been buzzing in this city and everywhere else for so long. Today in the studio, I have award-winning artist, prominent community advocate and leader, the creator of Jump On It Community Outreach, dope lyricist. He's been featured. You're so welcome. He's been featured in Billboard magazine. He has been named top 25 under 25, the boss man. Forget a day. This guy has a whole week in his honor. Austin's very own Mr. I'm from Texas, baby.
Yes, yep.
Nook Turner is in the building.
Well, appreciate you having me. So I'm excited. And then to be in DAWA Studios is super dope.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about what you know about DAWA Studios.
Well, I can tell you, I was around Shaka when he first had the idea. And so I kind of saw this on paper, and we were at the first event. I think he did it at his birthday party when he kind of launched the DAWA Fund and all that. So it's cool to see him see it be a visionary, and then you come in here and it actually manifested into something that's real, and it's going to grow from here. So yeah, it's super dope. It's surreal to be in here right now.
Shout out to DAWA Studios.
Yeah, shout out for real.
Yeah, and you're a part of the manifestation. We were kind of talking earlier about this, you put something together in your mind, that's the first thing you do, right? And then you try to create it in some form. And then when people acknowledge your creation or they become a part of your creation, for me, that's when the creation becomes real.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I can create this set, but if I have no Nick Turner here, then what is the set?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. A lot of what I'm doing now is due to Shaka and Chaz. So it was at one point, and we'll be 100, because with me, I'm always transparent. I'm honest about everything, good, bad, and the ugly. But it was a point in time where I was fed up with Austin. I'm like, I'm out of here. It's done. East Side is gone. We've lost the city. I'm gonna go join another fight that I know I can see a win in. And it was during the George Floyd time. 2020, and basically it was Chaz and Shaka. We was at a restaurant downtown, and they basically talked and convinced me into continuing the fight, which gave birth to the Black Austin Coalition movement, gave birth to a lot of things we're doing now, and me seeing the light at the end of the tunnel on the fight for the city. Because on the real, everything I've been through, everything I've seen, I just kind of gave up. I got to do something different, and there's no hope, and they the ones that gave me hope. And DAWA and what Shaka's doing through the DAWA Fund, and seeing all the movements, those two guys gave me hope and kind of reinvigorated me to want to stay in the fight in Austin, because I was done with it.
Both wonderful people in the community that
Facts.
really do what they say that they're going to do.
Facts.
Which is amazing, but also even more amazing that they were able to give you and provide you with the energy to keep going.
Yeah.
And, talking about that, somebody motivating you to continue to manifest. How often do we have people around like that be like, nah, I don't want you to lose. I don't want you to fail.
Yeah.
I want you to be great, and I know you can, and this is still your city. This is still where you're from. You got to go out there and do it for your people. How big is that?
No, it's super big because, as far as on the activism side and being a community advocate, I've been doing that since I was a kid. So it's going through what's in of it and seeing their energy and seeing Shaka's energy. He had a new energy, and that's kind of cool, because being from Austin and being here my whole life, you kind of get beat down. You kind of go through the gauntlet of what this city is and what it does to black people. And so seeing that energy that he had, it just kind of you know what, I got to stay in the fight and do it. And so, yeah, it's a whole thing with what we were just trying to figure out in Austin, because I was told years ago that what Austin is now, that was already forecasted back in the days when I was around the late, great Dorothy Turner and doing all the activism and fighting to get the Millennium Build. And when we started Jump On It, and we were told that, Austin is going to change, and we didn't know that. We didn't even understand what the word gentrification meant. That don't even make sense. This the East Side, this our community, and to see it now, it's kind of disheartening to just see, dang, they knew. And if we'd have took them serious back then and clamped down and learned the economics and learned the value of our land and our people and our community, and they allowed us to devalue ourselves, then come take it low and sell it high. And just to see that hustle ran, sometimes it could be depressing. So I'm just like, let me figure out what I can do to kind of change that, because I was part of the inception when they was talking about all those things happening.
Man, you just said a whole lot. You know what I mean? That definitely touched me because I'm born and raised in Austin, Texas. You know what I mean? From the east side. Let's get into what high school you went to. And what's that good old zip code?
Tell me the high school because you're going to hate.
And what's up with the zip code? That's what I need to know. That's the first thing we always ask each other, right? Like, where are you from and what high school did you go to?
Well, I'm from East Side, 02, born and raised. I went to high school at the greatest school at the time was Reagan.
Oh,
Reagan
my gosh.
So.
He's my guest, y'all, so I'm going to try to do him right. I'm a Jaguar all day, every day.
That's cool, but when I was at Reagan, we was killing y'all.
But when I was at LBJ, we was killing y'all.
That's fine.
That's okay. We got a 5-year difference here.
Yeah, so during my time, we was doing
You
our
picked
thing.
the right school during your time, and I picked the right school during my time.
Yeah, and we fought. I was the one that spearheaded. So I started questioning everything. So half of my life I was public school, the other half private school. So I kind of got both. And I always lived, when I wasn't in 02 on the east side, we lived in Thurman Heights on the north side. So I was part of the entire struggle. But at private school, I learned to question everything because they paint everything white and they tell you that's what it is. And this was a Bible school. And so they would tell you, like, we would go through the Bible stories and they would tell you the pigmentation and what these people look like. But then in the book, they look white. And so I always question, like, okay, even we talking about Othello, you said he was a Moor, but why is this picture of a white guy and all that? So when I got to Reagan, we holding up the Reagan Raiders and the R and we fighting for the school. I played basketball. And I started questioning, like, who is this guy on this horse? His name John H. Reagan. And I was like, well, we're Raiders and we going to battle. What was he battling while he was on his horse? And going to find out he was a prominent Confederate soldier that was fighting to keep our ass slaves. And so I had to question it, like, why you got, at that time, a predominantly black school, but we got the mascot of a guy fighting to keep us slaves. So I started going to the administration and asking them questions. It was like, oh no, he got captured and then he wrote a letter denouncing slavery.
What?
Oh, so then why our mascot is not him writing a letter? Why is it not the letter, the pen, when he was actually, doing fighting or saying something that was on behalf of us? And so under the guidance of Dorothy Turner during that time, we did press conferences. We had a group called DKC, and we kind of went at the school, went at everything, and hey, that mascot got taken down. So before Reagan turned into Northeast, that's why you see the horse and all that taken down, because we fought that. And that's how I've always been. It's like, if it's something not right and it's affecting our people, I'm going to speak up on it, but not just speak on it. I'm going to get out here and do the work to make it happen. And that's the difference with a lot of people is they'll run their mouth all day. But who going to get out here and put in the years, the blood, sweat, and the tears to really make something happen? And that's just in my DNA from where I'm from to do that, and I seen that firsthand. So I'm on that.
Where does all of that motivation come from? Because I can hear the passion in your voice. I see the movements. I feel the energy. I'm sitting across from you. Like, where does that come from? Like, I'm from Austin. You're from Austin. Let's be honest. Everybody here is not like that. Like you said, some people be running their mouth. And that's everywhere. That's all over the planet, right? But we're just talking about, like, where we're from. You had this hustle mentality before I feel like any of us did. So where did this come from?
I mean, my thing is when you're born in the gutter, you got two choices. Stay there or get out. And my mama is the one that always motivated me. I'm raised in a single parent home, born and raised on the east side. And it's like during that time, we never had anything. Like, I didn't get my own room till I was in Thurman Heights for a couple of years, and then till I was in high school. Like, so we struggled, and we was on the other end of that. And my dad wasn't there during that time. So my mom couldn't teach me how to be a man. What she did was show me what not to be and what a man was not. So living in a house with drug addicts, alcoholics, going through that, losing everything, getting it back, losing everything, just going through the trenches of what the crack epidemic did to our people. My mom was like, you going to be different. You going to make it out of here. And I'm not settling for nothing less than you being successful. And she used to always tell me when I was little, one day you're going to stand in front of millions of people and you're going to have a voice. So she pretty much planted that in my head before I even knew what I was going to do and what it was. I knew I was supposed to be in front of people and be a leader. And so she always had this thing. So we living on 17th Street, and she was like, And I don't know if this was wisdom or what. I probably had to talk to her about this. But she made sure I never went to school with the same kids I was in the neighborhood with. And her reasoning at that time, she would say, is because she didn't want me to bring school back to the neighborhood, and she didn't want me to take the neighborhood back to school, and she kept it separate. And so in that process, I was able to see a difference. And then, like I said, spending half of my time going to private school. And you got to look at this. I'm going to private school, but we living in the projects. We had no furniture. Brown Santa was our best friend. Like, my mom was getting like $148 a month food stamps and AFDC. And basically what we would do is we would have to get on the bus, do all our grocery shopping for the whole month, wash all our clothes for the whole month, catch the bus back. And we basically didn't have anything. But mind you, at the same time, I'm catching the city bus to a private school. So I'm noticing the difference of the worlds. And then I'm noticing all the white kids at the private schools looking at me like I'm that dude because I got on Jordans or whatever I had. I made it fresh and I kept it clean. And it was like it was a whole different world, but I understood they had a different privilege and they had a different situation. And I always wanted to get to a point where my people on the other side had those same opportunities. And so that just fueled the fight. But I watched my mama go from us having nothing. Like we lived in Thurman Heights. We was residents there. We didn't have any living room furniture. We didn't have a car. We didn't have a phone. So it's like we was ostracized from everybody on the east side. And that was a hard time for me to deal with. But I watched my mama go from us being residents to her actually becoming the district manager of all the projects on that side of town. And so I seen the coming from the bottom and I seen my mama do that. And then when she became manager, she went in and turned some of these apartment complexes around. Like she managed Georgia Manor, and that was bad. So anybody that know the Austin history, you know about that. And she turned it around. She was the manager of Meadowbrook. Back then it was called Murderside or Murderbrook.
Wow.
And she made the newspaper, and she got a lot of accolades because she turned it around. And through that process, I seen how you can make a difference in your community, and you can do it with no resources and turn it into the resources you need. And so that was my main thing, is my mom being my example and showing me. And so that from the start, I understood if I want to make a difference, I can, because I wanted to tell all my family members that was getting caught up in the game and going to jail and dying. Like I was witnessing that since I was young. It was just something different in me that she put in me to say, you're going to be different, and that's not how it's going to be, and you're going to change things. So that's all I knew.
Yeah. She spoke life into you. Yeah. Then she also showed you two different worlds so that you could see, like, from a bird's eye view, like, all the perspectives, right? Yeah. And then she also was your example.
Yeah. She was everything. And
she was everything.
And I never got culture shock because, like, it's crazy in our hood, like, in our community, they shun you if you went to private school. Like, oh,
of course,
he was lame,
you too smart, you too square, yeah.
And that wasn't the case with me because my mama made sure that even though I went to school there, I didn't turn into that. So I was actively playing sports on the east side. I was always with my people, and I never changed who I was. And I learned at that age, like, be who you are. You don't have to change who you are. Even if you get disciplined and trouble for it, stand on that. And I stood on who I was from the gate, and I was proud of that. It was beating me to be proud of who I am and where I come from, even if it don't look materially like it's something your people and your value means something. But I come from a line of people that have established major things in this area. St. John's Colony, my great-great-great-grandfather is one of the founders of that, which is a freeman colony that a lot of history went on to where they didn't allow the post-slavery time to turn us into a situation where we would go back mentally and physically into that. And so I'm cut from a line of people that was revolutionaries and that done great things. And so I really didn't have a choice. Like, that's just who I am.
It's just really like in every fiber of your being.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
You talked about like being authentic and like being yourself at all times. How important is that to you? Because I mean, like, clearly you're cut from a different cloth. You're cut from a cloth of people that are authentic, that it seemed like they really like embodied who they were and did what they thought was right for their people at all costs. You know what I mean? So being authentic and learning to just stand on your own 2 feet and be yourself, like, how important is that to you?
It's very important because when you're on the other side of that and people not being authentic with you and you understand the hurt, you never want to put nobody through that. Like, when you come home from school and you walk in the house and everything is stolen out the house and you lose everything. One of my prized possessions my mom bought me, she bought me a jam box with a microphone. I was like 8 or 9 years old. I loved it because that's what gave me my love to really, really want to do music. And you come home and your shit is gone. And then you see, the person that stole it, who's a drug addict, and they look you in the eye and promise you they didn't steal it, and you know they lying. So you start realizing I don't like being lied to. You go to private school and you see and they straight up look you in your face and lie to you. You start realizing, that's not what it is, and I don't ever want to be like that.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to be that person. Then dealing with Jump On It, when I first started, of course I was a teenager.
Right.
But that was the first time I ever knew that adults and people in the city would lie to you.
Ooh.
And, you sit and as a 16, 17-year-old, you're sitting across from a city council member in a meeting, you look up to them, we revere them, they're doing great things. And then when they look you in your face and they lie to you, you start realizing this world ain't what it's painted to be and what, I'm told. And I want to be opposite from that. I will not be that person that a lot of people that'll mistreat people and that'll do bullshit just to do it. Nah, everything gonna be 100 on this side because I know what it feel like to be lied to. Yes.
Yeah. How old were you when you started to Jump On It?
The idea of Jump On It, I was 15, turning 16. I think the very first Jump On I was 17.
Wow, just barely driving, and it's like it started in '97.
Yeah, I was fresh out of high school.
You were fresh out of high school.
Yeah, I graduated high school. That was one of the advantages of going to private then public, is I was so far ahead. When I left junior high at Hyde Park and went to Reagan, everything they were doing my 9th grade year and 10th grade year, I'd already done that in the 6th and 7th grade. So I pretty much just kind of BS through Reagan. But
you gonna tell them now that's what you did?
It didn't matter. They didn't care. They didn't want me there because once they start realizing I'm gonna question everything, I'm not gonna fall under the authority. And at that time when I first went to Reagan, I was a sports star. Like basketball was my thing. Might not look like it now, but basketball. you couldn't have told my mom or my people that I wouldn't have made it in basketball. And I lost my love for that at Reagan due to how weak the education was and how weak everything was around that I wasn't engaged in that at all. But I graduated Reagan at 16, so I graduated 2 years earlier than my class. That's why I'm younger than all my homeboys and classmates and stuff now. But I got the opportunity in '95 to go to an event called Turn Your Back on Violence that Lloyd Ellison put on. And those that don't know Lloyd Ellison, he's a legendary Austin artist in the city, a leader. He's done a lot of things in the city, and he did a Turn Your Back on Violence because during this time, Juneteenth was a thing. And I know you remember Juneteenth.
Yeah, of course. I was in the parade.
They had some incidents in the early to mid 90s that Juneteenth was dying down and the violence and the gang stuff was getting real bad in the city. So he put on an event called Turn Your Back on Violence at Doris Miller. And that's where I met the late, great Dorothy Turner, who changed my whole life and situation because she put out a citywide call using this event for anybody that wanted to do something at Rosewood Park. And I was the only one that took heed to that call and then took it serious and made something happen. And so being fresh out of high school, I had nothing but free time to do whatever I wanted to do. And that's one good thing my mom did is she never pressured me to do what she wanted me to do. She put in me what I needed to be, and then she allowed me the freedom to become that. And that gave me the opportunity to give the birth of Jump On It and to be everywhere and doing what I'm doing now.
Can you say that one more time? You said she put the opportunity in you. What did you say? She put
the real stuff in me and then gave me the freedom and the opportunity to do what I did with it for it to come into fruition on whatever I was going to be.
I just wanted to make sure they heard you, Nick, because I need people to also do the same with their own lives.
You got to speak it. And a lot of her situation, not to put a lot of her business out there, but and it's just growing up as a black woman, and coming up during those times, like she always had a fear that she was going to die. So her thing was, if anything happened to me, I'm going to make sure that Nook knows how to do everything he needs to do to survive. And so thankfully nothing ever happened to her, but out of that fear of something happening to her, she pretty much had me ready to run an empire at 9 years old. I was already, by the time I was 10, I could do anything. yeah, it wasn't nothing I couldn't do, and she let me have the freedom. She was tight on me, but she let me have the freedom to make my own choices.
Yeah, I mean, all the stuff that she taught you, plus like just the confidence and the level of understanding you had at such a young age is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't think you can ask for a better mother.
No, you can't. And then, it's
real.
like it's nothing I can never do to really, like Pac say, nothing I can do to pay you back.
Yeah.
But the plan is to make sure you understand you are appreciated. I just want to get to the point where she can see the fruition of everything that she fought for and show me actually be something that's tangible in her lifetime.
I love that.
That's what I want her to be able to see, that came and she could actually experience it. Because a lot of times they say you plant the forest, you're not going to be around to see the trees, and I don't want that. I want her to be able to plant the forest and to experience being under the trees.
Yeah, under the trees, walk around the trees, see
Every
all
day.
the trees,
Every day.
make
So,
mama proud. I'm sure she's proud already, but I get what you're saying. Like, you want her to see the whole picture.
Yeah, and I've seen her struggle. I've seen us go through everything. Like, we lived in a time we didn't have nothing, and and I say that and I don't take that lightly because she made sure that we were good and that I always made it through. But there was times where I seen her with nothing. Mm-hmm. And I just want us to get to the point where we don't have to struggle like that. And she's doing great things now, but I just want us to have liberation to the point we can wake up every day, do what we want to do all day long without having the constraints of the system and society and everything you got to do to survive. I'm tired of us surviving. I'm ready to see us thrive.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about as a whole. Like, it's a few of us in here that may be thriving in their own way, but until all of us are thriving, we still in the struggle and situation where we not winning. And I'm tired of that. I'm just frustrated with it. And I'm not gonna raise my kids in a situation where they gotta feel like that they gotta fight all hard just to shoot par.
Yeah.
You gotta do all this shit just to shoot par. Nah, we gonna overachieve, go above and beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are an executive member of the Black Austin Coalition. Tell me more about that. You mentioned it earlier in the interview.
Well, the inception of Black Austin Coalition was kind of due in part to a lot of things that was going on in the city. But my thing is, I've always been a person that, like I told you earlier, I don't like being lied to. I'm not going to sit back and watch somebody else being talked about and it's not true. So there was a guy in the city, I'm not going to speak names on that, but he was very vocal about some things that was going on that I knew firsthand was not the truth. And so in bridging that gap, letting them see the other side of what was going on, we ended up forming what you would have as BAC. And like I said, that was kind of the motivation of what I took from the sit down with Chaz and Shaka over not giving up for the city. And so I felt like there was an opportunity with all the energy and bringing everybody together. So I'm not going to take credit for Black Austin Coalition. I'll take credit for being the one that brought everybody together and got us all on the same page for the movement. But where it's going now, we got the resolution passed in 2021 that called for the city to build a Black embassy. And so that's where we're at. We're in the phase of building and erecting a Black embassy, which is going to be a situation that's a safe haven, a situation that offers liberation and something that offers restitution for Black Austin. And so that's going to be a huge project, and we're at the time now that we're going to fight to make sure that actually happens. And so everything right now is about the Black embassy. We do have support. We do have naysayers, but my thing is I'm a person that's going to get out here and do it. I don't care what nobody talking about. And everything ain't show business. That's one thing is everybody, I ain't gonna say everybody, but a lot of people talk more than they do. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was always told is to talk with your toes, not your tongue.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Talk with your toes, not your tongue.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, let your work show for it. And everything I've ever done throughout my entire life, my work ethic and what I do and put out show for it. You can say anything you want to say about Nook, but you can't say that he don't make things happen and he don't go hard. And if I was fake, if I was on some BS, I was doing that, I wouldn't be able to still be here and be solid and standing on what I'm doing after all these years.
Absolutely.
But Black Embassy, part of Jump On It Week, and I guess we'll get into that. We do have some updates to the community on where we are with it, and we have updates on what the community can do to be involved in this next phase. So I'm excited about the next phase.
I definitely want to get into that, but I also want to just talk about like growing up on the East Side, because we talked a lot about like preserving it and then like the things that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up on the East Side, knowing what it looked like when we were growing up and knowing what it looks like now, I have mixed feelings about it. You know, it's like, yes, I love the fact that everybody loves my city. It's on the top 10 list and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. But I also miss the way our city was. And I know that this is not just happening to us here in Austin. It's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
So how do we stop it from happening, and how do we preserve our culture?
Man, I've said this many times, and I'm going to just keep repeating it till it just gets in everybody's head. And this is specifically for Austin. They treat dogs better in this city than they do black people. Dogs have happier lives than black people do and black kids do. So that lets you know it's a major problem. The main issue is if they teach you how to not value who you are and what you have. So the first thing is they devalued our community. You know what I'm saying? Like when you let it get flooded with guns and cocaine, and you let the city get ravaged with that, and you start devaluing the neighborhoods, the property value go down low. Then when you make the property value go down low and it's devalued, none of us want to live in the slums. I don't give a damn who you are.
No, that's
so
true.
Then what they do is they offer somewhere else that's better, and so they'll give you the opportunity to get out of the slums. And so in our time growing up in the mid-late 90s and on, you know, they're going to open up developments. Lakeside, oh, everybody moved there.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Northside.
It's always been these extra places that we would go to make us feel like life was better for us. Mm-hmm. And we devalued it. We didn't want to be there, but we left, and we left the value low where they could come in and get it low and then sell high, and then they put the value back in it. Now we have a lot of value on the East Side. But when I was a kid, we was taught that's every black kid's situation, and you know this. Mm-hmm. You know how we always have been taught, man, I got to make it out the hood.
Yep.
Make it out the hood
is
what we've been told from the inception of us understanding what the hood was.
Yep. Not by the hood.
Not by the hood.
But make it out the hood.
Not make the hood better.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Not heal the hood. We was always taught, make it out of the hood. They indoctrinated us from the start to not value where we from and the soil that we've shed blood on and that we build on. And the thing about the system, I don't want to just say white people. I'm going to say the system, even though white supremacy is the whole thing that's got the key in the back to this, is post-slavery, black people were becoming progressive. We had our own freedmen settlements. Mm-hmm. We start figuring it out, coming from the bottom and figuring out how to correlate and be progressive. They came in with the 1928 master plan. This is speaking specifically for Austin.
Yes, they did.
And they made us believe that it was something better that they had for us than what we had, and we devalued our stuff. So they created the Negro District and then created Rosewood Apartments, which was the first projects in the history of the United States. The first experiment where they put black people in the ghetto and gave us a ghetto mind was done in Austin. So everything that triggered and sparked throughout this whole country on how they've used that as a tool to keep us down and suppressed and oppressed was started here in the city. So now I'm on a freedman settlement. No, we don't have running water. We're using wells.
Yep.
No, we don't have electricity. But the key thing that they had in the freedman settlements is they had themselves as their number one commodity. And the older people, they valued the damn land. So when they built Rosewood Apartments, oh, you're going to have electricity. Oh, we got paved roads. So they sold us a dream to make us devalue. So you look at a lot of us left those freedmen settlements willingly to move up and move into a better situation. Then the other ones were inhumanely forced out.
Yeah, because they basically told us they was going to turn off our water and power unless we moved.
And then you had to go to public school. There was only one, and that was Blackshear. Mm-hmm. So basically they forced us into a situation, sold it to us that it would be better. And every urban development plan that the city of Austin has ever instituted since its inception has had a negative consequence for black people. Every one. There's not been one that's had a positive consequence for us. So in saying all of that, it's like we have to learn to value who we are. You look at our music, and I'm a rap artist, but our music does not add value to us.
Nope, it does not.
You look at any kind of sporting situation, anything that blacks are prominent in, there's nothing there that adds value to blacks. Blacks come in and add value to their shit, but you rarely see anything that adds value to us. And that's been the number one con since slavery, was to keep us in a mind state where we don't value each other. And then we don't value the land. We had a situation and we squandered it away because of that, because we didn't understand generational wealth. Our ancestors did. What all the old people say, when I die, I'm going to give you my house.
Yep.
That whole situation, they understood that the land was important to pass down, because they understood as long as you got somewhere to stay, you're going to have somewhere to play. You're going to have somewhere to figure it out. And that got devalued. Look at on the east side how many old people homes got sold. Look at all the gentrification going on, and look at the devalue. Like my neighbor across the street, you know what I'm saying? Love this dude. He in his like late 60s. He watched his grandmother's house, nice brick house. He watched his people fight and sell that for like 80 grand. It resold for like 300 grand. He used to come sit on my porch and be like, man, I hate they sold mama's house. And I see that. But if we valued and understood, if we understood that that was our generational wealth,
We wouldn't do that.
blacks would not be in the situation we're in the country economically, systematically, educationally, none of that. We missed the mark on the fact that that land and that property was our generational wealth to overcome poverty and all the shit that they doing to us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have 3 properties on the east side, and we still have them.
Good.
But there's always a conversation about like selling. And I'm the one that's like, no, let's not do that, because think about what can be here in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
Facts.
If we want to do something with the property, let's build a bigger house on the property.
Facts.
And let that rack up in price and then keep passing it on. So I think you're right. I know you're right. We missed the mark on that. I also think about too, like, we built this country, right, for free as
Facts.
slaves, right?
Facts.
So when we are in these situations, Nook, like we're in our neighborhood, it's the slums or the ghetto, whatever people want to call it, it's been run down and whatnot. Why don't we take the time to like rebuild it? Why don't you think we try to add value to where our community, like where we're at, versus moving away?
It's kind of hard to rebuild a situation when you're still stuck in struggle mode.
Yeah, okay. I can take that.
It's hard building a block up when your house got leaky roofs and your floor falling in. It's hard to kind of put attention on building a block up.
Yeah.
And those that go put the attention on building a block, they lose their house and then they back in the same situation. So
It's easier to move away.
it's easier to move away, and it's easier to live in a fantasy. And black people are traumatized. We're every day we're a living example of trauma. And so one way that your brain deals with trauma is it gives you a false reality to live in. And we get caught up in living in the fantasies and the things and the carrot they wave in front of us to make us feel successful. That's why you have, and I don't knock anybody to go to college. I don't knock anybody that got degrees, but that situation was used as one of those, if you do that, you're successful. And I know more successful people that didn't go to college than the ones that I'm around daily that went and spent their money still in debt and not as successful as the ones that didn't. So college is a tool to become successful if you know how to use that tool. But if you don't know how to use that tool, it's a hustle. So we've bought into this lie of what success is, and then we live in that. And we live in that fantasy to escape the trauma. And when we get when we get to the point where we understand, because I want to say this shit right, when we get to the point where we understand that shit ain't where it's supposed to be and that we have to heal from the trauma in order to move, then we'll grow. But we get so used to masking the trauma and living in our own realities that we lose the will to want to fight. And I can understand that. That was probably one of my reasons when I was like, I'm done with Austin, fuck Austin. And I'm just being real, I was at that point. And I go back and forth from that point a lot of times because of the trauma I done went through. But I'm on the other side where I understand now that I got to deal with my trauma, and I gotta get my spirit right, and I got to stay aligned with God, and I got to stay aligned with my purpose and heal within myself in order to do that, because it's hard. And then the hardest thing right now in even rebuilding the community is you got to fight the system. You got to fight white supremacy. But you know who your first target you got to fight is your own fucking people.
Yeah.
Instead of us understanding it's more that we agree on than what we disagree on.
It's way more than we agree on, but we just can't see it from each other's lens. It's almost like some of us are seeing this from a bird's eye view, and some of us are just seeing it through this small little tiny camera lens, and we can't, those two people like forever will be in disagreement. You know what I mean? So you got this group over here that just sees things from where they are right now, and then you have this group of people that see things about where they can go. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's the hardest part. And it's like, how do we all get on the same page?
We get on the same page when we learn how to value ourselves. People treat you how they feel about themselves. And people talk bad about people who feel bad about themselves. People have a problem with other people when they have a problem with themselves.
That is so true.
And that's how I feel. Anybody that I've had an issue with, that issue could be resolved if I resolve the issue I have with myself. Because then I know how to deal with that person. I know how to navigate around the traps that person may set. So then I don't have a problem with that person.
Yeah.
So if you got a problem with me, you really got a problem with yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and that's hard because accountability is hard for people to deal with. Like,
yeah,
it's hard to be told, you know, and I guess in my situation in my life, accountability wasn't my issue because I didn't have no way around it. I couldn't escape the accountability. Like, I had to deal with it because that was the only way I was going to make it out. I'm an only kid, so I had to create fantasy worlds and figure it out, and then realize, no, I want my reality to
match up.
To match up with that. I can't be fake because I see so much fake shit around me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You grow up in a home with dope fiends and alcoholics, and you see the side of that. It make you not want to be that. You see your kinfolks getting caught up in it. You know, I seen my dad, and I love him to death. I rock with him, and we're building. But during that time, like, I seen him, and he wasn't at that time a drug addict. He was addicted to being a drug dealer. And, you know, and seeing that become more important than making sure your only son who was born on your birthday, you're involved in their life. But he's told me stories of when he went to the New Anderson, and how he was getting his dope and everything from them. It was the white people bringing it in, giving it to us to bring it back to our neighborhoods. So you start seeing the fucking hustle. And excuse me if I'm cussing out.
No, you're good.
But it's like when you start seeing how the traps and how we were set up to be how we are, you start having to say, I got to figure out how to move different. You know, I'm not going to be like everybody else and caught up into that. And I got a lot of flack from my peers on that. Oh, man, you think you're better than us? No, I know that we are better than what we're doing. So I don't think I'm better than you. I feel like as a whole, me and you are better than everything we dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And so, yes, I'm going to have that better implanted. Yes, we are better. Not just me, we are. But we have to understand that, because on the east side, there was a time white people wouldn't walk their dogs up the street.
No.
Especially after dark, you're not seeing them.
No, you're not.
There was a time at UT where they told students, do not go 12th Street.
Chacon and 12th. My mom would even tell me, like, don't go over there. Like, But now I just rode down there on the way here, and there's like apartment buildings, 4 or 5 stories high. It looks completely different.
They tricked us, they hustled us, and we lost the fact that we built a community through our adversity. We took the Negro district and made it into a prominent thing. Everything black people touch and focus on, we turn it into greatness.
All the time. Everything. Sports, fashion,
everything.
Food.
Yeah.
You give us scraps, turned into delicacies.
We turned it into greatness, and we turned the east side into greatness. There was time we had a theater there. We had a community, even with Old Anderson, like I was told about the parades they would have down Rosewood on game day. Like, we had a community. We had a situation. And they take it from us. And then in my time, we'd jump on it, like you was talking about before we started the interview, it's like we had a captive audience of 5,000 plus people in the neighborhood.
Yeah, in the neighborhood. Like, y'all, I would like literally like lay out my little outfits, get all my friends together. We would all be like, okay, meet at the house at this time. We're going to all ride in one car. And like I remember us even being like, how many numbers can we get in one day, in one night? We come back with our little stickies at the end of the night. How many you got? How many you got, Mika? How many you got, Karsh? How many you got? It was crazy.
But look at how many people were in walking distance to Rosewood Park.
It was crazy. Like people were mostly walking. I was driving in because my family had moved to the north side already. But
it's the LBJ bougie.
Oh my God! Now I gotta be bougie. You went to private school.
Hey, LBJ was LB. But look, at private, we'll talk about that. But LBJ,
I'm just playing.
one reason, no. One reason I didn't want to go to LBJ because
why?
I ain't had the clothes to keep up. I'm telling you.
Man, it was crazy around there. It was a whole fashion show.
We struggled. We made the struggle look good.
Yeah,
I couldn't keep up with that. Like my best friend at the time, Dirt, R.I.P. Dirt Mason. That was my best friend. You know, Dirt Jam them.
Yeah.
They could keep up.
And you was like, I can't keep up.
Nah, my booster game wasn't that, you know.
The booster game
went up on that.
We got to put a definition at the bottom.
Yeah, it wasn't on that level like, you know.
Right, some other people's levels.
We had it,
no
but,
names.
you know.
Yeah.
But my mama was against a lot of that, too, because she like, nah, you're not wearing that. And yeah. But, and no shade, it's just real shit.
Yeah.
But it's like, nah, I couldn't keep up with LBJ. But
I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot for me, and I was there and cheerleading and playing basketball and doing all the things. So I already know.
If I'd have went there and got up under Coach Rowland, though, I'd probably be in a whole different situation.
I mean,
we didn't have that leadership at Reagan.
I mean, is the camera on? Hey, I mean, you can always be a Jaguar. You can always be an honorary.
Now, shit, I don't even know about that now. What
I
they
know.
doing is now.
I know. Where's it going? We did go to the playoffs this year, though, in basketball.
Yeah, but in basketball, but look at the education, the enrollment. Look at what they doing to it.
No, actually, no, we did not go to the playoffs in basketball. A lot of LBJ people.
That was a year before.
Yeah, but a lot of LBJ people, their kids play for, what was it?
Stony Point.
Yes, and I'm like, there was an LBJ reunion in there. My bad. I tried to give us another championship. But it's like the future generations of the LBJ team.
Yeah, because you got
Stony
people.
Point,
You got people like Dallas, and you got people. You got people like him that are invested into the youth.
They totally are. Yeah,
that like, you know, regardless of what you feel about him or what the opinions are about him, like
he's a great guy.
One thing you said about him is he invested into the youngsters, like
for sure.
Yeah, he invests. He'll live and die for the youngsters, and you know you don't get that a lot. So you know, that's a unicorn, right there. You know what I'm saying?
In all the ways, because he's also from Austin too. Yeah. My dad and his dad used to play hoop at the basketball tournaments at Givens when we was growing up.
He wanted
Dallas. Yeah,
he one of the originals. His grandfather or great grandfather was like the founder of like one of the Freeman settlements. So
that's crazy.
So like he deeply rooted in it. You know, and that's why I understand a lot of frustration that we have being born and raised from here, and
it's
people that's not from here. You just if you weren't born and raised on this soil, I don't care how many years you've been here. It's just some things you're not gonna never understand, and that's why I have a problem with not always having the natives front and center when it comes to movements that'll affect everything. You got to, because if you don't have that understanding, you're not gonna really be able to make a real movement that's gonna be valued for the natives. And if you don't respect your history, your future ain't gonna be nothing. So.
Right. If you don't respect your history, your future is not gonna be nothing. Well, add me to the list. Like I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. I'm on go.
Okay.
All right. So how old were you when you started in the music game?
I started rapping when I was like 9. We moved out to Thurman Heights mainly because my mom had a car accident and she was bedridden forever, and we didn't have anything, and so we had to go through housing authority. And so when we was living, like I told you earlier, we're in Thurman Heights. I'm born and raised here. I don't know nobody on the north side. Mm-hmm. So we out there, no phone, no car, pretty much nothing. And like it was a celebration for us when a relative would come out there and visit us. And so make a long story short, my cousin Kelly came out there, and she was, you know, her and my mom was real tight. And so she would always come out there and visit. And every time a relative come visit, I'm like, I got to put on a show to make them stay. So I would be like entertaining, doing skits, because I never wanted them to leave. You know, like I would go in my room and cry when somebody visited us and leave, because I never know when I would see them again. And like we can get on the phone and call nobody and all that. But Kelly was getting married at the time, and I was playing around. I was like, I'm going to rap at your wedding. And my mama, the type of person, she was like, if you say it, you got to do it. And so I was like, well, I don't rap. And she was like, we going to figure this out. Plus, I don't have no money to get her a gift, so that's going to be my gift is your rap, Negro, so we going to put it together. So
your mama like, let's do it. We a group.
Yeah. So she helped me write a poem that turned into a rap. It's called Kelly and Stanley. And I went to North Cross Mall. See, I don't know if you...
Yes, I went to North Cross Mall.
And recorded?
Yes, I recorded studios. I
Yeah.
recorded in there before.
Yeah.
I got to find the tapes. I
got
know
mine.
You got yours?
Yeah.
With the colored background?
Yeah, I got all that. So I did the rap Kelly and Stanley and performed it at her wedding. And I realized how people received me when I stood up there and performed. And I was like, you know what? This is my ticket to reach my people. Because at that time, I had a cousin who had just got sentenced to go to prison. And that, like, broke my heart. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you're young and you hearing this and then you realize, oh, I'm not going to see my cousin no more. He gone. I just had a yearning inside of me to want to change things. Mm-hmm. And so music was what that was. So around 9 years old, I started doing that. And then when my mom started taking over the housing complexes, of course, she would bring me to do community events and I would rap and perform. And that just gave me the birth of who I was as an artist.
Wow. You said my music is for the movement. My mission is to get us to Bread City, a symbolic place that represents true freedom. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you?
Bread City is heaven, but it's heaven on earth. I believe that we weren't put on earth to struggle. I believe that the struggles and the things that we have are man-made. I believe when God created us, it was for us to be able to serve him, praise him, and act out our purpose on earth, not to struggle. We wasn't put on earth to struggle, so Bread City is what I want to see my people get to, and whatever that means to you. So if you're able to get some financial freedom, you made it to Bread City. And when you get out of prison and you got another chance of getting your life together, that's Bread City. You know, it's a place where you feel liberated and that you're able to have the freedom to do what you want and you control your movements. That's Bread City. My personal Bread City is us having prominent communities throughout the country, us having financial freedom, and us being able to live life in a thriving mode to where we control our destinies and we be the great beings that we were individually put here to be. And what that looks like, I don't know, but I just know that it's a possibility. I believe it in my heart. It's a possibility. We deserve it.
We definitely deserve it. And it's going to happen.
Yes.
We're all going to Bread City.
Yes.
For sure.
Facts.
For sure. Facts. You've worked with everyone from Trina, the Yin Yang Twins, Mo3, Texas legend, Michael 5000 Watts, who I absolutely love, Charlie Boy, the list goes on and on. Who was like your favorite collab?
Oh, that's crazy. I'm going to say my favorite was Yin Yang Twins because they fools. And
so they're just like the music.
Man, they wild. Like, we riding around the city and they taking jingles and turning them into strip club anthems. Like, I'm with these guys, and they took the Toys R Us song and made it a booty club song, and we just joking.
Oh, my goodness.
You know what I'm saying?
I need a snippet of that. What is that?
Yeah. Nah, it's wild, and their characters, but when I first met them, I didn't know that they was impaired or special needs. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm around them, and I didn't know that. Nobody said anything because if you look on like the old videos, BT, all that, they always covered it up. You never seen
I didn't know that either until right now.
So it was a time before in their career where they wasn't open about that. And so when I met them and realized that they kind of used them being jokesters and their character to kind of compensate for it. But it really was who they are. They actually eventually came out and talked about their different things and their issues, and they got real comfortable with it, and they got accepted. But it was a time it wasn't. But yeah, them guys were some fools. We had a jump on it one time, which probably would have been our biggest one in history if it wouldn't have rained. But I brought Yin Yang here, and during this time, I think it was like $6,200 for them, which was high back then. Right now, there's nothing.
Right.
But before they were able to perform, it stormed at Rosewood. And we already had like 3,000 plus people already there. So we rushed to move it indoors at the Millennium. And at this time, the Millennium wasn't with it. Like, they wasn't feeling having thousands of black kids in their building, which that's what the shit was built for. So
so what are we talking about right now?
That's another situation, but they wasn't feeling us doing jump on it there. And it's storming outside, mind you. This wasn't like a regular
And this
rain.
is for the black children in a black community.
Mm-hmm. And I watched Yin Yang take the money I just gave them out of their pocket and pay for everybody to come in. Wow. It was like, how much y'all want to charge? Because they wouldn't. And I'm telling them, like, let everybody in free. I'll work on the city to reimburse y'all. But
it took that for them to be like, all right, they can come in.
They paid the money I gave them for all the kids to come in.
But I'm saying it took the Millennium for all the kids to come in, for that to happen?
Yeah. They weren't trying to hear it. They weren't trying to hear it.
They still didn't let it happen.
It happened.
Okay.
It happened because Yin Yang paid
the money
that I gave them to come here
to the show. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What a big heart too.
And they at that time became my favorite. So that's been my favorite collab. But definitely working with Trina has been good.
I mean, she's the baddest, right?
The Mo3 situation, I never really got a chance to actually work with him because he passed away. Even before we finished the record that I put out with him, it was still in its beginning stages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like he sent me those rough vocals on that Friday, and then he passed that following Wednesday.
So you just got them a couple of days before. Wowzers.
Yeah, and Trina jumped on it on the fact that she knew Mo3 and everybody's heart was broken on the situation, and she loved the message of the song. So, but yeah, I would say Yin Yang Twins, and then Trina has kind of been an advocate. Like shit, Trina brought me out on stage. When she came here to see the Park Center in front of thousands of people, she brought me out. And she's always afforded me the opportunity to hop on the road or go out with her. And I hadn't been able to take advantage of it yet. But, yeah, she's a sweetheart, and I rock with everything that she do. So that would have to be my second. But me and Michael Watts, like, we like brothers. Like, that's the homie.
Oh, okay. So we can just call him, like, when we finish up, and we could just have a conversation.
Yeah. He was here last weekend trying to get with me.
What?
Yeah. So,
oh, my God. If you're not going to make time for him, I will.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I'll take you around the city, Michael Watts.
That's the homie right there.
No, that's dope. That's like one of my favorite DJs.
Yep.
All right. So you literally took over the Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium. For the people that don't know what this stadium is, it is the football stadium that the Longhorns play at. Yep. Like, goals, first of all. And secondly, I'm kind of jealous that I was not invited to this music video shoot. But
we're doing a remix. So
I need to be on the invite list.
Remember, she said that, Bree.
Yes, I did say that. But this isn't about me. How did that come about?
I had the idea for the song years ago, and I was like, man, I should take that PD Pablo and turn it into Texas Baby, and I just think it just fell in my lap. Like I was in the studio messing around, and I pulled the beat up. I'm like, I'm gonna record the song and do it. So it was just really me just playing around and doing it. Nothing serious, but I let a few people hear it, and it's like, oh, you got to shoot a video and they'll rock with that. So that's how it pretty much came about. And I was like, you know what, I can use this song to really do some things. It was doing real well before they lost in the damn whatever Rose Bowl or whatever it was. That song was killing online. I was getting a lot of action. They lost. That shit just dropped. So
you saw Texas. I was getting a lot of action.
Hey, I was getting it. Like
that means he was winning.
Oh yeah, I was winning. Like
he was winning big time.
But yeah, I'm going to do a remix to it. I'm going to involve some of the newer players, and I'm involve more people from Texas and make it more of a Texas anthem.
I'm ready.
On that.
I'm
and,
ready.
You know, and I got to deal with my personal feelings on stuff like it pissed me off on the DEI inclusionary thing that they taking away. So then they make me say F them, and then it's like, well, it ain't the players' fault. So I be bipolar on how I really want to move on that. So I know I'm doing a remix, and I'm going to just move when the energy tell me to move, because I got other records that I haven't released yet. Like I got a record with Boosie Badass that I really feel like, yeah, that's already done.
Can I get a snippet of this?
So I'm kind of, I send it to you.
Thank you so much.
I'm just trying to move. What I've done in the past that was kind of a mistake, knowing now, but during the time I didn't get it, is I sacrificed my music for a jump on it. Like I put more time being sucked into doing the community work and not into me.
Right.
And so that's why I'm at the point where I am now. Like, you know what? I don't give a damn how old I am. I didn't give myself the opportunity to win, and I still can eat up anybody that want to try me on the mic. Let's do it. So that's where I am now with Fit to Drop, the record with him. I got a full album that's done. I'm just kind of working on what I'm going to do. So I've learned with Jump On It now, make sure Nook Turner's involved in it. I never had my name on nothing. I bring down all these artists like Yin Yang Twins. They knew me as Charles.
What?
When I asked him to get
That's your real first name?
Yeah, it's my government name.
Oh, my goodness. I'm just now finding this out because I've been calling you Nook forever.
That's the only thing my mom ever called me. Like, she never called me Charles ever.
Okay.
But when I asked them to do the song with me that we did, they were like, you rap? I was like, yeah, I rap. I've been around these dudes for years, and they never even knew I did music. And that was a mistake of mine because I always prided myself to say, you know what, I'm not going to use Jump On It for anything personal because it's for the community, it's for the people, so I'm not going to have any personal benefits. That was stupid because I'm putting in all the blood, sweat, and tears. I'm going through the drama. I'm going through the hate for my people. I'm going through the system shit I'm dealing with the city, all that. So why wasn't I front and center? And anytime that I performed to Jump On It, I would always get hate, like, he's using it for his platform, and like, I wasn't, but shit, I should have. I deserve that.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you use your own platform to perform at? I mean, like, first of all, you're a well-known person in Austin. So more people are going to come out to support you, which also gives the other artists that perform on your platform more eyes on them. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that doesn't make sense.
People don't see it that way because you got to understand I'm homegrown. That's one of the negatives of being homegrown.
Oh, my gosh.
Because people that grew up with you and knew you, they always feel like, why it's not me?
Yeah, but use that energy to create something that you want to create. Like I created something that I want to create.
That's what we have to teach people because they don't get that. I just did an interview on KZI, and a guy called in and he said he was doing music. He's from West Texas or what have you. And he said he came to Austin and he seen me doing Jump On It. And one key thing, and he's a great guy, positive comment, but one key thing that he said is that he was jealous of me. And that's what I went through with all of my peers when Jump On It popped. Instead of them saying, let's lock in and get on this train, it was like, let's figure out how we can hate on it. Let's figure out how we can poke holes. Or you understand, like, we doing this at Rosewood. I would go into the office at Rosewood, and there would be stacks of papers on the desk of people turning in proposals on how they could do Jump On It better than me. So I always dealt with the weight of the city on my back and my own people on my back. And so it kind of just suppressed me pushing me as an artist and mixing Jump On It. I've learned now, no, anything Jump On It do is going to say Nook Turner presents. Because I'm the one in the fight doing it. I'm the one that's taking the risk. I'm the one that's going through it. Anytime you see a big event, I'm going to be there as an artist and doing that. And I had to learn that the hard way, And then recently, like after the Mo3 song was taken off, we brought down Fredo Bang, Rich Homie Quan. We did a big show. We did in New Braunfels. And people were literally like, are you performing? Are you performing? And like I was getting that more than anything. And I was like, you know what? I've been stupid. I done wasted 15 years of my life and my career not putting me first. That's why the song with Mo3 was called Put Your Hustle First. Because it's like I never put what would make Jump On It better first and what would make me better, because Jump On It won't live if Nook is dead. If Nook hasn't given it the situation and the life and everything it needs to sustain itself. So if Nook is a commodity, everything Nook touch can then become a commodity or part of that. I didn't know that back then. No, nor did I have an OG to teach me this. Most of my OGs was mad at how you got an 18-year-old running a city budget. Like,
that's crazy.
You weren't about the wrong shit. Jump in here with me.
Yeah, jump in here with me and help me add up and subtract these numbers and figure out how we can get better over time.
Yeah, and
wow.
I've dealt with that, and it's so bad, like, just thinking about it now, like, Dorothy Turner has been my mentor. Jump On It wouldn't have happened without her. She became like a grandmother to me. And she fueled a lot of things that I do now because I'm not going to let that legacy die. I get hate from her people. And I got to deal with that and navigate through that. So it just reminds me that your own people be the ones that kill you. Then you start thinking on the story of Jesus, whether you believe it or not, you just look at the story of it. I believe it. So, but you look at the story of it, he never did one miracle in his hometown. He didn't do one. You can't find in the Bible anywhere where he did a miracle for his hometown. And then you look at who actually set him up to get crucified was his own people. And so you start looking at those stories, and like I've always said, I try to find a way to be different and be on the outside of that. And I used to, when I was younger, I always say I'm going to be a martyr and I'm going to die for the struggle. And I'm like, no, I'm not dying for no struggle. I'm going to live for the struggle. And I'm going to be the voice that's different. Like, we don't have to all be martyrs. Jesus already was a martyr. Martin Luther King was a martyr. Malcolm X was a martyr, and that list go on and on. The difference between Jesus and the others is Jesus was the Messiah, but at the same time, he got killed by the people he was trying to save. I don't want to believe, and I'm not going to believe I'm the person that's going to die for the people I'm trying to save. I'm the person that's going to show everybody how to be liberated, how to win, and how we all can live, not this dying shit. That's another con. We always got bought into the lie, make it out the hood. We bought into the lie, we got to be a martyr or die for our cause and our beliefs. I don't think we have to die for that. Nat Turner is the reason I'm Nook Turner. Nat Turner was my idol. Dorothy Turner called me Nat. We called her Harriet. So that's been my moniker, and Nat Turner died for his insurrection. I just believe that I don't have to die for the insurrection if enough of us realize that we can live through it, and that's what I'm on now. So I'm not going to let my music die. I don't care if you say, oh, then you too old to rap. No, I'm not, because I got a message. Killer Mike just won 3 Grammys. He way older than me. So that don't, so my thing is fighting for life, fighting for positivity, and never speaking death on anything that you believe in, speaking life. And they go back to my mama. She spoke life into me. And what she spoken to me, she's seeing it every day actually happen. But I don't know, and I know we're gonna talk about the East Side, but my goal is to still speak life into Black Austin. And I learned that because at one point I was speaking death on it. I was like, I'm done with it. So I'm understanding I got to correct some of those things and be the voice and be the leader to change things.
Man, you said so much,
Yeah,
but you explained everything. So, and I loved every moment of it. I mean, I really love the fact of like just, like focusing on putting yourself first. Because if you don't put yourself first, then everything else that you got around you gonna die anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, that's point blank period. And I love the message that you said. Like, I had to start performing again. I had to start putting my energy towards something that I want to do. And I don't care how old I am. I don't care anything that you see is in my way. I don't care if you see something and I don't see it. I'm still going to push forward. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's such a major message. Yep. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with today?
Well, hopefully we'll talk about Jump On It Week.
Of course. Yeah.
But, yeah, my main thing is heal yourself. Be the best version of you. If you become the best version of you and you focus on being the best version of you, you're not worrying about what nobody else doing. That's just how I feel about it. I think that's one big struggle in Austin right now is you got this whole bullshit of activism through antagonizing or whatever they call it, but they always are focused on what somebody else is doing instead of making what they're doing become the best version of itself. And if we can as a city start becoming the best versions of ourselves, then we can all correlate together and it's going to be a win because we already in a positive energy of making things better. And that's what we should always be about. Instead of tearing shit down, let's make it better. We've already been tore down. In order to rebuild something, you got to tear it down. But shit, as a people, we already been tore down. So we don't need no more being tore down. We don't need no more deconstruction. We don't need no more calling people out. We don't need no more putting people on front and center and proving like we don't need that shit no more. And I understand we got to be transparent. My thing is what Nook Turner is going to say is we have to do that in a way to where it's uplifting at all times. Even if you call somebody out for doing something wrong, it has to be behind uplifting and it has to end with them being uplifted. Because last time I checked, ain't nobody perfect. Last time I checked, everybody put their pants on one leg at a time. Last time I checked, we all bleed the same blood. So we got to get out of this judgment and shit. And that's a message for Austin and probably any city. But for Austin, we got to get out of worrying about what the fuck somebody else is doing and worry about what you doing. Mm-hmm. And then when you get that together, then bring that over as a commodity to help the next person. But if we put more energy into the positive things that we're doing, quit focusing on the negative things other people doing, we will win.
Yeah.
We spend more time complaining and calling people out than we put into promoting our own things. And then wonder why we're not successful. But then you look at why is Jump On It still around? Because I did the opposite. I've been taught by my mama everything opposite. My uncle, alcoholic. I watched my uncle put his hands on her. I watched my mama get beat multiple times. And one thing she told me, I can't show you how to be a man, but them niggas in there are not men. You better be opposite. And I mean, that plays true to right now. We got to switch and go opposite. Everything that's negative, we got to turn it positive. We got to start looking at the glass as half full, then half empty, and maybe we'll start winning. Stop complaining so much and start winning. And if you can't speak winning out of your mouth, shut the fuck up. That's just how I feel.
Tell him again.
If you can't speak winning out of your mouth, shut the fuck up. And you don't have to make somebody else lose in order to win.
You do not. We can all win. There's enough for all of us.
It's enough for all of us, and they don't even understand that. So that's my message is be the best version of you. Because if you focus on that, you're going to make everything around you beautiful. Because like I said, you treat people how you feel about yourself.
Absolutely.
And so you have to start feeling great about yourself and great that you on your note heal from your trauma, then you're not going to worry about nothing else nobody doing. And if you see it, you're going to fix it, not complain about it and be all focused on the negative. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you built a wonderful, magnificent legacy, and Jump On It is coming up next month. So tell us about Jump On It and the dates.
Well, I'm going to say this. Jump On It is on life support.
Okay.
So as great as I've learned to make it look and keep it positive, it is on life support. So If people want to see Jump On It continue and it grow back to what it was in the past, then people have to support it. People have to support it, and then if there's things that they don't understand about it, come to get clarification on it. But they have to support it. Jump On It week is June